me?
No.
Switch on the bottom, maybe?
I actually don't have the slightest idea how the amp works, so I'm just going to have to, since I'm losing my voice anyway, I'll just shout. Happy Valentine's Day. Yes. I hope you all enjoyed Death is a Caress, and you now understand the power of love. Gone wrong. Yeah. Okay, the second half of, I have a message for a woman I think is still in the audience who was asking me earlier about Virginia O'Brien. Okay, that was you. Yes, that movie is from 1944. It's called Meet the People with Lucille Ball and Dick Powell. That's the movie you were asking about. See, we answer all your questions here at Mars City. You know. Okay, the movie that you are now about to see, the second half of our double dose of death tonight on Valentine's Day, is from 1955, a Spanish film from 1955. You've heard me talk many times about the production code in Hollywood. It was very interesting that they made, the film you just saw obviously was a film that would not have been made in Hollywood in 1949 because there were so many things about it that there we go. Very good.
Sorry, we had an accident, so I'm dealing with the person who took a really bad fall, and so
Oh my goodness.
been a little torn between jobs.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I vamped. Okay, I'm going to assume you heard most of what I said there. The film that you just saw obviously would never have been made in Hollywood in 1949 because of the production code that was in existence. And I very often I come up here and I introduce these films, and from our vantage point of today, we can kind of laugh at how silly it seems, the things that were enforced back then. If you think the Hollywood production code was restrictive and oppressive, imagine making films in Spain under Generalissimo Francisco Franco, okay? So yes, that was a complete totalitarian regime that was in place since the late 1930s in Spain, and of course Franco didn't die until the 70s. But in the mid-1950s, the man who directed this film, Juan Antonio Bardem, a devout communist who was one of Franco's big opponents in the arts community, sort of threw down the gauntlet and gave this challenge to other Spanish filmmakers to rise to the heights of what was happening in Italy with neorealism, and said, Spanish cinema needs to be reinvented. And he sort of took it upon himself to issue that challenge and to create this film as an example of what he thought Spanish cinema could be. It is a very, very modern film for 1955. The editing is completely modern. It so disassociates the viewer at times that some people in 1955 were kind of lost. And the film was criticized for, you're not absolutely sure what's happening all the time. I don't think a contemporary audience will be lost at all. One of the filmmakers that Bardem reminds me of today a bit is Pedro Almodóvar, because both of them shared an absolute crazed obsession with American cinema. Which is interesting when you combine that with a guy who's a devout communist and, is fighting this fascist regime in Spain. He loves American movies. He loved Alfred Hitchcock. All of that comes through in this film. Plus, you get as scathing a critique of the laziness of the affluent class in Spain as was possible at the time. So very much like film noir in America snuck subversive messages under the radar of the production code, this is what Bardem was doing in Spain at that time. This is a very deep philosophical film made in an extremely lively and entertaining way. Lucia Bozé, the lead actress, was Miss Italy. She's Italian, not Spanish. She was Miss Italy. and had a very long and thriving career in the movies, and her son became one of the great pop singers in Spain. You can look him up. And other than that, it's just it's really a absolutely spellbinding and terrific film. So this is a really great double bill. I'm glad you all came out on Valentine's Day to share this. So one last thing I want to mention. There's a wonderful woman who's working here for the Film Noir Foundation at the merchandise table, Darl Sparks, the very nattily dressed woman out there. We're having a little bit of a run on merchandise, I'm happy to say. But I do want to bring your attention to a book called Goodis, A Life in Black and White, about the life story of David Goodis, a very influential noir writer. This is a book that I just edited and published. That for the first time in English. The book was published 30 years ago in France by a very esteemed journalist named Philippe Garnier, and it's the only story about David Goodis's life that has any value whatsoever. And this is the first time the book has been in English. And I started this new publishing venture really to bring this book out. We'll do some other things as well. But if you're into David Goodis at all and want to learn about the history of paperback pulp fiction in America, this book is really, really great, and I'm very proud to have published it. So, avail yourselves of that. And now, I am happy to present Juan Antonio Bardem, and yes, he would be the uncle of actor Javier Bardem. Just so you know. Dad, I'm a cyclist. Thank you.